Niners, speaking of them, they lose their third straight game. They fall to the Bengals 31-17 as the Bengals now feel like they are back in action without question. And Joe Burrow, he's back. He's healthy. 28 of 32 on the day against that Niners secondary, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, rushing for 43 yards on the day. This is the Joe Burrow that we know. This isn't the Joe Burrow that we love. And this is the Joe Burrow that we recognize stepping up against big teams in big games. If there was any play early on that showed you that Joe Burrow was back, 3rd and 10, Burrow finesses out of the pocket, pass to T. Higgins on the sideline as Joe Burrow is taking a shot from the defender. He's healthy, he's comfortable, and he is back. He had a 3rd and 9 scramble in the second quarter as well. That wasn't happening a couple of weeks back. You can tell he's not afraid to take off, use that mobility. The Bengals' explosive pass plays also doubled their highest game total as they were coming into this game. They doubled up their explosive pass plays from within the last weeks. And Joe Burrow is now taking a lot less snaps from under the gun, about 25% less snaps from the gun, now going under center because that calf is healthy, because now he can roll out on those bootlegs and realistically be able to make plays in today's league. But we saw that offense rolling like we're used to with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, 10 for 100 in a tub, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Joe Burrow with a best 19 straight completions in this game before he finally had one fall incomplete. And this is just what the Bengals needed, right? W off the bye week. They needed the bye week to propel them into this type of performance, into this type of team playing the Niners. And Lou Anarumo, you got to give credit to him as well. I'm not going to talk all about offense here. Lou Anarumo flashing his defensive presence again, forcing 3 second-half turnovers in this game. Cincinnati was a very clean team in this football game, just 1 penalty overall. And this is a game, the last couple weeks of the NFL season, teams are really starting to come into their form. We're out of September, we're out of October. That November, December, January football is where it really matters. And hell, before we know it, y'all, the Super Bowl is going to be here. We're already halfway through the NFL season, and the Bengals are hitting the halfway point of the season in stride at a great time. And there's nothing that you can take away from them right now because they feel so on top of everything, because they just beat a smash mouth team, defense, coach in Kyle Shanahan and the Niners. You can't tell the Bengals anything right now. But Brock Purdy in this game, this is now the second straight game that Brock Purdy has a turnover to end the football game. We remember the 2 throws last week against the Vikings in crunch time for the interceptions. Brock Purdy throws 2 more interceptions in this game, back-to-back throws to turn into interceptions. He had thrown 1 home interception in his entire career up to this point. He threw 2 of them in this game. And I will give it to him. This was the George Kittle game. George Kittle had a lot of nice plays in this game. Brock Purdy clearly was favoring him. Had a couple nice threads to him over the middle. And I'm glad that George Kittle day finally happened, just because a couple weeks ago I was like, all right, no Debo, Trent Williams. Now George Kittle's really got to get incorporated. He felt like he was just blocking more at first. And I know, dropping Trent Williams' name, you might have thought I was going to say, oh, we should block more. Hell no. With Debo Samuel not being out there at his fullest, at his fullest capacity, like, they needed George Kittle to be George Kittle, and he came through in this game, but of course it wasn't enough against the Bengals. But you can tell Brock Purdy, he's getting more mobile as the games go on. And I don't know if that's necessarily something that I see as getting more comfortable or possibly getting more skeptical, because when you don't have your blind side protected by your all-pro left tackle in Trent Williams, that's going to make you nervous. And I was just giving Brock compliments a couple of weeks ago. Like, this is what you like to see out of Brock Purdy. What quarterback is going to stand in the pocket that confident and go on to take a game down to the wire? Of course, they lose to the Vikings, lose the third one here against the Bengals. But, I'll give it to Brock Purdy. He had a nice touchdown drive in this game to make it 24-17 in the fourth quarter. But San Francisco had no answer for Jamar Chase, who, again, 10 catches, 100 yards, touchdown, and just game-ending strip sack on Brock Purdy, which is pretty ugly. Brock Purdy has 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. Of course, we know he's got a couple of fumbles as well. He had the ugly interception to Jermaine Pratt when he was trying to throw the screen pass. So there's just things that are continuing to happen for Brock Purdy as the weeks go on, and people want to say, oh, he's unraveling. Oh, Brock Purdy's starting to look like Mr. Irrelevant again. He's missing his blindside tackle, all-pro lineman, left tackle. Debo Samuel banged up. George Kittle just finally emerged. Like, he's going through growing pains. If Brock Purdy would have done this early on, we'd be singing different praises about Brock Purdy right now. But guess what? He's facing his first bit of adversity. He's facing his injuries. He's facing multiple losses now. He's going to be feeling the heat. Shanahan's going to be having different conversations with him. And that's okay because he's a quarterback in the National Football League for the San Francisco 49ers, who are still a top team in the NFL. Yes, they did fall some in my power rankings, but stop making Brock Purdy such an easy target when we knew that Brock was the dead last pick in the draft. Brock is still playing solid football. Brock still got the Niners in position against the Browns to put them in the position to win the game. And outside of the couple of bad throws in the Vikings game, like Brock was good. Now, this game, clearly he was not solid. And we see that Brock Purdy did not have a good football game. Now, you look at the numbers. Wow, 22 for 31, 365 yards, a touchdown. But there's also 2 interceptions. He also lost that fumble to lose the game. He also rushed for 57 yards. So there's more than what the numbers are going to show you here. I'm going to go ahead and give those kudos to Christian McCaffrey, NFL record now with a touchdown in 17 straight games, which does include the postseason. The Niners trading for him last year was one of the best moves they made in recent history, and we know everything that CMC has brought to that team. But the Niners defense was diced up in this one, and they've been getting diced up on the runs, on the defensive side of the ball, especially line, that Kyle Shanahan had to make a move for a run stopper, for a potential pass rusher, and that's why they go ahead and go into Chase Young. San Francisco allowed 5 plays of 20-plus yards in this game, nearly half of Cincinnati's season total, which was 14 for Cincinnati through the entire 6 weeks. With 7 minutes to go in the second quarter, Cincinnati had more first downs than 49ers had plays run. And since the Niners lost to the Browns a few weeks ago, they've allowed 71 first downs and 370 rushing yards since losing a couple of weeks ago. And now that they're on this 3-game skid, it does not seem like it's going to get any prettier for the Jags. Not the Jags, any prettier for the Niners. They have the Jags, Bucks, Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks coming up next on their schedule. They only get the Bucks and the Seahawks at home. So they're going to get the Jags on the road. They're going to get the Eagles on the road. They're going to get the Seahawks on the road. Those are games that they can all very well go in and lose. If the Bucks also beat them and they split with the Seahawks, we're looking at San Francisco as a 5-3 team. Maybe now they're sub 500 in a few weeks from now. I believe Kyle Shanahan's better than that. I know that they'll be able to have, some of their players back healthier. I know that they'll be able to adjust as the season goes on. But damn, after being 5-0 now to 5-3, it starts to make you think, as things start to unfold and unravel, what is this team really capable of in the middle of adversity? Because they just got wiped off the map by a Bengals team who's still trying to come around. And again, I think the Bengals do make a nice turn in this game. I do think the Bengals are back now. Joe Burrow looks fantastic, and there's nothing you can say again that's going to, take that confidence out of the Bengals. But the Niners got to tighten up. And I like that they do tighten up at this trade deadline. They bring in Chase Young. I think Chase Young's going to be a big difference maker. I understand he's an edge rusher, but I have a lot of faith in that Niners defense and especially in that coaching staff to put him in the right positions and make it worth that type of trade that the Niners just gave up for him.